frantic with it. I knew immediately that we had to do something about traffic lights, because so many people that came to my house said to me, do you know how many people have been killed in that traffic light? And they kept repeating it, and I said to myself, well, why are they telling me this? Why can't we not have the traffic light in that junction? And so it was, the first thing that we had to do was put on traffic lights in that junction. And you know what? Within half of April, by December the 3rd, traffic lights was in that Sugar and Road junction. And not only that, it is possible to change governments, because in us doing it, we forced government to put traffic lights all over to Lagos, and in one step, we changed our world forever. And in the same breath, I knew that we had to do something about grieving because I knew so many well-meaning people, the way that they had approached me. They thought they were doing wonders, but they terrified me. They filled me with fear and pulled my weight. No, it did not help to tell me remember Job. It did not help to tell me that God blocks the flower, grows beautiful part of the garden. I saw that very cruel what God that would block the flower that you have nurtured so lovingly and without notice. So I knew that, and some people enjoy telling you things like, you know, this is the work of the devil, and that is truly scary. Or that we must investigate this. And then there were some people who truly enjoyed the melodrama of it. I had suddenly become the latest Hollywood, Hollywood face to watch. And I was people came to visit me, and I thought, is this the rest of my life? Am I going to be a melodrama for people to come and gape at me? I've always had a sense of humor, and I said, I've become a melodrama. And people say, Tyree still have your sense of humor. I said, Tyree will always still be Tyree. And I said to myself, we have to tell people that this is not how you support people. And then there were some people that were scared that I somehow had an illness that they could catch. I had to reassure them that this is not an infectious disease. You will not lose your child because you come near me. So all my experiences kind of undertook me that I needed to help people. And I remember when I went to see Professor Lambo. Many of you might know, some of you might know that Professor Lambo was the first psychiatrist in Africa, the doyen of that profession. And he was like an uncle to me. And I went to him and I said, uncle, I want to help people in grief because we don't do it right here. And you know, he thought he was humoring me. So first time, you know, it was a great idea like that that began what is now our hospital. I don't think he actually quite realized how serious I was, because by the time we had our first meeting, I had written minutes. I said, uncle, the next step. So she is deadly serious. And within 2 weeks, he said, I will assemble for you my voice. Well, all the psychiatrists and psychologists in Nigeria are on his voice. So he said, I'll pick some of the ones like, no, are extremely good. And so it was that we have been working with the same team for the last 13 years. Dr. Olubile, Dr. Zach, Dr. Rotimi, and I remember the first day that we had our first meeting. It was February 2003, less than a year after my loss. And Professor Lambo was there with Nancy, Mrs. Diane Lambo, and they were urging us on, and they kept saying, let's assemble a bunch of volunteers, people that we had selected, who we thought would make good grief counselors. And they kept saying to them, psychiatrists, get out of the way, let the people speak from the horse's mouth. And I remember that session was meant to be our certification in grief counseling. Well, clearly, after that, we knew that we had learned on the theory, but we had not become grief counselors. So we set up a little committee to actually formulate what it was that we thought was inspired to be able to make us feel confident to help people in their time of grief. And we worked out along, and that is what I'm so proud of. We did not copy from anybody. It was from the horse's mouth of people that have been suffered the pain of grief and trauma. And we decided that we needed to have another session which was practical, and then followed by what we call a clinical session, which we actually visited the clinics of the clinical psychologists and saw them in action, and saw how they, through empathy, were able to allow people to unburden their issues. And then we rounded it up with what we devised ourselves of a town hall meeting, where we typically have people who have suffered grief sitting on the hot table and ask them questions about them with an audience. And the first part is always a unburdening one. And people ask questions of them. What was it that made it worse for you? And then the second session is healing. What process made you best helped you to feel? And it's always been an incredible experience. And so it was. I remember March 2004, we certified, it took us a whole year, wasn't that we did it every day, so we certified the first set of 25 Aart of Life grief counselors. And you know, in the true irony of life, 4 days later, Professor Daniel died. And so we, these students that he had nurtured, were on hand to help his family heal and grief counsel them through their trauma. And not that we prayed for it, but one day, somehow one of us is going to need an Aart of Life grief counselor. Over the years, we have evolved. We have hand, on hand, we have a center in Lagos that we have ongoing grief counseling sessions. We have counsel people, train more people, counsel people all over Nigeria, but we have never gone federal. We evolved a program with the MTN called 0703 Healing, which was essentially a telephone counseling, and that kind of involved a different kind of skill set. The game of 2 phones, and it was myself and Joker who had the phone on 24 hours a day, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences of our lifetime. It was during that process that we realized that there was a lot of issues in Nigeria. Number one, we found that 70% of people that called were men. We discovered that 70% of those men came from the north. And they were young men. And it was clear that they had a lot of issues. Now, during that process, we discovered that Nigerians have suicidal tendencies during Christmas. They didn't like hearing jingle bells when they were feeling depressed. In fact, they hated Merry Christmas when they were feeling depressed. So that, we touched the surface at that time, but clearly there was an opening that was needed. Over the years, we have seen and watched the terror attacks in the north. Many of us have felt a little bit disengaged from it. I used to work, especially since we come from Lagos, with the sense that Gambari Castle is not really our business. But the stories of horror, we could not ignore our compatriots suffering and traumatized, and we knew what trauma and suffering was. So it was that we have been conceptualizing and seeing that in spite of all the various agencies, the various agencies that are on hand, there is no structure on who does what where. And we felt that we needed to create a rallying point to talk about this topic. How do we deal with this situation? Who involve a system in which rapid response is at hand to help our compatriots. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're here to do today, and we are cordially inviting all of us to join us in setting the agenda to move our nation forward. Thank you very much.